Hello and welcome to another edition of the Lincoln Visits podcast. I am Derek Bombeck, the Director of Sports with Visit Lincoln, and we are here in the AOI Podcast Studio. Today we are going to talk all things sports with the Lincoln Sports Foundation. Here with good friend and colleague, he is the Director of Facilities for the Lincoln Sports Foundation, Sam Lesoing. Sam, thanks for being here.
Yep, thanks for having me.
A lot going on, I know, at the complex. I know there's a lot going on this summer. So let's just get right into it. Tell us a little bit more, especially for those that maybe aren't familiar with the Lincoln Sports Foundation, maybe with its location, what kind of property it is, and some of the sports you have. Just tell us more about what the Lincoln Sports Foundation is.
Yeah, so a lot of people remember Lincoln Sports Foundation as the Abbott Sports Complex. That's what it used to be called from 1995 to 2018. We're a nonprofit facility. We have 200 acres, so we have 30 soccer fields. We have 6 indoor basketball courts, 10 volleyball courts, indoor track and field, indoor turf, and then we have 3 motocross tracks and 80 acres of undeveloped land. So you've been out there, you know how big the property is.
It's a big property, so I'm sure there's a lot that goes into it with staff to make sure everything's maintained for all the different sports you host. So I guess what is the biggest day-to-day issues you face or expectations you have for your staff on keeping the complex maintained?
Yeah, I think the hardest thing is, with any kind of grounds crew, maintenance and staffing, just because, you'll have your high school, your college guys and balancing the school year versus full time. And then there's times in the spring and summer where I don't have my part-time guys and I'm on the field mowing. And so, yeah, it's just balancing that, I think, is the biggest issue.
And I know there's been a lot of transition from from when it was the Abbott Sports Complex to the Lincoln Sports Foundation, which you kind of touched on, but maybe tell us a little bit more about that transition. And then, again, I'm out there quite a bit with my son and all of his activities, but what are all the projects that you've already completed? What are you currently working on? What do you maybe foresee in the future? And give us an update on everything that's going on.
Yeah, so back in 2018, there was a settlement agreement between the Abbott Foundation and Lincoln Sports Foundation. The ownership transferred to Lincoln Sports Foundation. And since then, we've really prioritized making, facility improvements. If people remember what it used to be, from 2015 to 2018, everything was kind of run down, overgrown. Fields weren't in great shape. Actually, the fields were sharecropped to the farmer to bale for hay for about 3 years. So that's been the biggest thing. And, it's been possible through a lot of private support and support through the county. A lot of people don't know that we're not subsidized by any government entity. So we don't get any state funding or city funding or federal funding. So everything that we do, all the improvements we make, come through grants or donors or, just operations.
That's awesome. Yeah, like I'm out there, as you know, multiple times a week, one just with my son, with the soccer complex. So just seeing the quality of the fields increase over the last several years is a testament to what you and your staff have done. I know we're starting to host tournaments out there again, and those are being received very well. I don't know if you mentioned the hardwood floors. Inside.
I did not. Yes,
that's a big
brand new
improvement.
hardwood floors.
So,
Yep. How could I forget that one?
so yeah, we have, 10 basketball,
6 basketball, 10 volleyball.
There we go.
Yep.
6 basketball, 10 volleyball
Yep.
courts. You have Trackville inside the indoor component, which I know a lot of athletes utilize that for, training off season. Yep. Obviously an indoor turf facility. And then obviously the Malone Center did a lot with the turf on the outdoor championship field. If you want to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. The Malone Center utilizes the championship. We call it the championship field, for their fall, practices for football and their home games. So that's really awesome. And we have a great partnership with Malone because when they're not using it for that purpose, we get to use it for other tenants around the facility. So the versatility that the turf, gives us in terms of rain or hey, there's this big rugby event or this big lacrosse event, like Lincoln Rampage Lacrosse, they use it for their home field. So the championship field's great. And it's one project after another, or just keep on making progress.
What a lot of people don't know is, when you and your dad and all the staff at the Lincoln Sports Foundation started, kind of building the facility back up, it wasn't just, oh, let's just do some fun cosmetic things. You got to get down to the bones of, the water pipes, the AC and HVAC units, all these things that you've helped do, and you've taken care of that, which now you can start focusing on some of the stuff that, makes the facility look, more tournament ready, or more, pretty, as, one might say, to make it look better.
Yeah, the biggest thing when we kind of took over was the deferred maintenance, and that's still an issue today. And that's just because we don't have, you know, funding coming in year over year to do that stuff. So like, for example, with the soccer fields, I think at this point we probably replaced about 50% of our irrigation,
Yeah.
and that's a lot of digging. But yeah, I mean HVAC. One of the first things we did in the indoors was replace all the lighting.
Yeah.
New AC in the lobby area. Tore out the old lobby area. New turf. I mean, it's just been a constant progression. So
Well, because of that progression, because of the hard work and everything that you and the staff do out at the Lincoln Sports Foundation, we're able to host some pretty cool events in Lincoln because of that. And July is going to be a massive event for not only Lincoln, but obviously for the Lincoln Sports Foundation, you and your staff. We are hosting USA Archery's JOAD Target Nationals July 22nd through 26th out at the Lincoln Sports Foundation. So maybe tell us a little bit more about that event, kind of the recruitment process, leading up to it, and what maybe people can expect if they come out and watch the event next week.
yeah, I'm really excited for JOAD Nationals. It's going to be the biggest national competition hosted at the complex since the 2010 Special Olympics National Games. And we haven't hosted anything to that scale since then. So when we first started kind of talking about this and like, oh, this could be really cool. One of the things that USA Archery said is there's not a lot of facilities in the United States that have the capacity in terms of field space, but are also so flat.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, I had those two things, that's for sure. So it was really cool. And, we started talking, and we partnered with Nebraska Sports Council on it. And we just started talking through it. It's like, oh, this could be really awesome. So then like when we went down to Albuquerque and we saw it, I think that was kind of the point for us where we were like, oh, we could definitely do this.
Yeah, we had a great trip down to Albuquerque last summer just to see the event in person, to see how we could fit it, from a complex there to our complex. And I think we saw, exactly how it would fit. I think we were both overwhelmed by the amount of tents that not only USA Archery needs for the athletes, prior to shooting, but the amount of families that are there watching the event. They get there days, if not a week ahead of time, stake out their tent space so they can be front row to watch their kids compete. But yeah, we're expecting over 900 athletes. I think it's going to be the largest JOAD competition in history. We are hosting again next year in 2027, so we'd like to see those numbers continue to grow. But it's just going to be an amazing event. Again, even if you're not an archery enthusiast, it's just one of those things where Lincoln hosts some of these national events that, they don't come year after year. So when we do get them here, it's a good opportunity to come check them out. So again, July 22nd is the opening kind of reception. July 23rd, 24th, 25th, 26th will be the competition dates. So make sure if you get a chance to come check out that event, because it is going to be amazing. And I'm excited. I get to see a lot of national events in my career, but I'm very, very excited for this one.
And I think it's a testament to the work that you're doing, because like, you go around the country and you see these huge soccer complexes. Like in Kansas City, you have the Overland Park Sports Complex. We don't have anything in Lincoln that's going to compete with that. We just don't. So like some of these events, like we got the roller sports, and then we'll have rodeo, and now we have archery. It's like these are some really cool events that are huge in scale, but aren't necessarily something you think of off the top of your head. Like, oh, this could be big. And so I think that that's something that we really need to keep working on. We work on that and like just think of different events that Lincoln could host.
It's like you're doing my recruitment for me, which is awesome.
I've heard your spiel a few times.
So yeah, this event's going to be awesome. I know you've hosted some other major events already in 2026, but tell us about some of the other big competitions you've hosted out there, some of the maybe competitions you have looking forward to, and then some of your tenants out there that you house daily.
Yeah, so right now I think we have, and I'd have to do another count, but I think we're sitting at 52 tenants. We have 31 different sports and activities.
Wow.
And since the wood, so really what started happening is the first thing that we improved at the complex was the fields. And so the soccer, lacrosse, rugby, those communities all knew about LSF. And that started kind of in 2020. Well, since November, then you get the totally different demographic of people coming in. You get the basketball, the volleyball, everything like that. So we went from hosting probably 20 events each year to right now, actually for 2026, 2027, I'm over 70 events. I don't have any free weekend from October to July 1st,
Well,
which
bad for
is a
you.
lot different than it used to
Good
be.
problem for the Lincoln Sports Foundation.
Yeah.
That's a problem you have to deal with. But yeah, I mean, there's just so many new events popping up that either you bring to my table or I'm,
Yeah.
emailing you. But one in particular that just comes to mind that was recent was Drum Corps International. Talk a little bit more about that and how big that was for the facility and potentially for Lincoln moving forward.
Yeah, that one's been really cool. So Drum Corps International, how they describe themselves is the major league of marching band.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't see it in person, you don't realize that they're not kidding with that claim. Like they came in with 3 semis, 6 charter buses, a kitchen trailer, like a full semi kitchen trailer. And it's just a massive operation. So I've had 5 corps this summer, and they right now are on their tour. So they do 30 different stops on the tour, and they're at the end of the season they perform at Lucas Oil Stadium. So that's one of those cool events. Like for example, like we have drum corps, but we'll also have gymnastics, dog shows. We'll have martial arts events. We'll have powerlifting events. Like the versatility of the space that we have at Lincoln Sports Foundation is able to cater to so many different things, and that's what I think makes it really cool and like super fulfilling for me, because it's not just like basketball every weekend. Like these people come here and it's like, oh, we have a space where we can do what we love, and that's what service attitude. That's what I love doing.
Yeah, and you obviously mentioned so many of the sports, but we didn't even touch on the motocross track that
Nope.
is just on the east side of the complex. So maybe just give a quick overview of that.
Yeah, so motocross, we have new management for the motocross track this year, and they are really pushing the events. So I think they're up to 12 events this year, and they will draw. Camping World right now is in heaven because they're all stopping at Camping World on their way to the motocross track. But yeah, those are just huge events, and like last weekend they had a laser tag party before motocross. So it's been something where the motocross track hasn't really been pushing events, but it's coming back into that.
Yeah.
So that's been really cool to see.
And you were great to make that connection with me, so we'll be in touch with them to see what else we can do to help support them to make, their calendar just as busy as yours. So
yeah. Well, and when you get all 3 facets of the complex going at once, so like for example, last October we had a motocross event, we had a soccer tournament, and we had indoor volleyball. Maybe it was this spring. Either way.
Yeah.
And over the weekend we had 30,000 visitors to the complex in some capacity. Now, how many of those are repeat? I don't know, but still, just the volume of it. I mean, it's a huge place.
Yeah, I know one of the big things for you is just to get eyes on the complex, to get more people out there, and big events like that, big events like the one we have this summer, do that. That kind of leads into our next question. For those that haven't been out to the Lincoln Sports Foundation, maybe since it was called Abbott, what can they expect, from experiencing an event out there in the way of, hospitality, and or is there anything else I guess you just want to bring up about the complex as we wrap up the discussion today?
Yeah, I mean, I think the first thing that people are going to see is obviously just the improvements. And, the amount of times that me and Terry, our director of guest experience, have sat in our office, which is kind of right when people come in, and people walk in and you can hear them like audibly gasp, like, what happened in here? Like, it's nothing like what people remembered. And I think the biggest thing is we always want to make sure we have great customer experience. I mean, that's Terry's job. So he works weeknights and weekends, and his whole job is to make sure that everyone at the facility is catered to.
Yeah.
And I think that goes a long way with the people that come out and host their events, and the people that come host events, they want to host it the next year. And I think that's a huge benchmark to show what we're doing.
Yeah, I know when you talked about that major event weekend you had in the spring with motocross, with a soccer tournament that I was involved in, with another big volleyball tournament, I was terrified of the traffic, flow, and it could not have been better. And I'm like, wow, you guys have really upped the game on, that kind of thing, and just those little tweaks that make an experience better, that make people want to come back year over year. So,
well, that's something that we're really trying to do now, like with some of our company partners. Like Signal Lincoln is the one that did our traffic.
Mm-hmm.
Right now we have Valentino's and Premier Catering doing our concessions. So we're making a really big push now, and David Bretsky is our community outreach person, to reach out to companies. And it is hard to cash flow a complex of that size all the time. Yeah. It's just a massive operation. And so the more that we can get the community involved, whether it be in kind or maybe some financial support, that really helps, because we put everything back into the facility or our staff. Like right now, me and Terry are the only full-time staff at the
Yeah.
complex, which is kind of wild to think about. So, yeah.
All right, last fun question. You were not briefed on this one. Let's say Warren Buffett's in the room with a blank check. What's your goal for the complex in 10 years, or what's like a major thing you want to get done?
I think a lot of the deferred maintenance is the big one. The parking lot is one of the main ones, but there's a lot of deferred maintenance, like, HVAC and, the championship field and the lighting, like it's some of those things, but then it's also like, the bubble that used to be there for Nebraska tennis, like that's just been sitting there for forever. And people always talk about like, oh, news great. Let's build these great new facilities. And yes, that's awesome for Lincoln. But also, like, I think it's important to invest in places that already have the space.
Yeah.
80 acres of land, you can build pretty much whatever you want there.
Yeah.
So 10 years from now, I hope that it just continues to evolve and cater more and more to the community and get more people out there. That's my big goal.
That's awesome. Well, if Warren's here with a blank check for me and I can donate it to the complex, I want all turf and all lights on all. How many fields do you have out there for soccer? 30 soccer fields?
20.
Okay.
Yeah, no, sorry, 20.
That's okay. But that's my pipe dream for Lincoln, is to have a nice turf complex. But well, thank you for your time today, Sam. Yep. This has been awesome. Like I said, Lincoln Sports Foundation is doing so many great things, and next week with the USA Archery Nationals, it's just going to be an amazing time. But we continue and we support all your efforts out there and encourage everybody who gets an opportunity, go out to the Lincoln Sports Foundation, check out some of the new improvements that they've done, check out some of the cool and exciting events that they're hosting year round. And so for more of Lincoln Visits podcast, you can head to our website at lcoc.com or check us out on Apple and Spotify. I am Derek Bombeck, and this is the AOI Podcast Studios. Take care.